My dear fourth grade children, good morning to all. How are you, ma? I hope that you are doing very well. So now, social science section. Last class, we started the history first lesson, that is Unit 8, timelines and calendars. So the title of the lesson is Timelines and Calendars. Okay. So in the previous class we have learned the timeline and calendars. What is timeline, ma? That is, a timeline is a line of dates arranged in this right order. What is timeline? A timeline is a line of dates arranged in the right order. So these timelines, Gregorian calendar, that is in the previous class we have learned. So you clearly understood? I think so. So now again I recall. So first of all, what is timeline? A timeline is a line of dates arranged in the right order. That is timeline. In other words, we can arrange dates in history to get a record of events that took place in the past. By doing this, we know what events happened in the past and when did they happen. Such an arrangement of events is called a timeline. So, arrangement of events is called a timeline. A timeline arranges events and the dates of the past in the order in which they took place. It follows a sequence of earliest to latest. The earliest date and event is recorded first, and the latest dates and even the last. Okay? Okay, ma. So, what is timeline? How to arrange it? That's we have already learned. Now we see that Gregorian calendars, that is the 19th, 20th and 21st centuries are part of this Gregorian calendar. This calendar is originally from Europe. This Gregorian calendar is originally from Europe. For people here, the birth of Jesus Christ was the most important event in the history. So the number of years in this calendar starts from the time of Christ's birth. That is very, very important. The numbering of years in the calendar starts from the time of Christ's birth. Okay? What's more? The numbering of years in this calendar starts from the time of Christ's birth. That is a Gregorian calendars. Now all over the country now follow these Gregorian calendars. Okay. Then how do we count these years? Both the calendars and clocks help us to keep track of time. This clock tells us how much time has passed between events in a day. Calendars also tells us how much time has passed between days, weeks, months and years. Okay? Okay, now listen here. That is after the birth of Christ means the year 1 on the timeline, year 1, year first on the timeline, that represents the time of Christ's birth. The years after the birth of Christ are counted by normal way. Okay? the years after the birth of Christ, that is counted normal way, going forward from 1. These years are written with letters CE. C denotes for common, E denotes for era, common era. For example, 2000 CE or 1857 CE. This stands for common era, that is after the birth of Christ. Mahatma Gandhi was born in 1869 CE. India has become independent in 1947 CE. Okay, so CE means after the birth of Christ. Don't confuse it. These years are written with the letter CE, and we are also counted in the normal way, going forward from 1. Okay, but before the birth of Christ, that is before the birth of Christ, that is a history. History means what, ma? Goes back events before the birth of Christ. History means a past events. So now we see also before the birth means it goes back even before the birth of Christ. To number of the years before his birth, the years are counted backwards from the year 1. So a number of the years before his birth. The years are counted backwards from the year 1. That is it, before the birth of Christ. Okay, so BCE means before the birth of Christ. Before the birth of Christ, they are counted backwards and you have BCE written after them. Okay, but these years are after the birth of Christ, they are counted forwards. That is very important. That is the only difference. So after the birth of Christ, they are counted forwards and have to written after them, such as 100 CE, then 500 CE, etc. Okay, that's all we have learned in the last class. Okay, ma. Now we see that a tool to study history, that is the year when Lord Jesus Christ was born is taken as the central point in a timeline of a human history. It is taken as the year 1st CE. So the Lord Jesus Christ was born is taken as the central point in the timeline in the human history. It is taken as the year of 1st CE. These dates are counted forward from the year when Lord Jesus Christ was born. It is called the Christian era. These events which took place after the birth of Christ are written with BCE. Okay. That is, now we call that before common era, and common CE means common era. So the period of history, now we see that time is continuous. But people have divided into days, months, and years. Lifetime history is also continuous. Okay, the past is a very vast period of time. Vast means very long period of time. Past means, that is a history means study of past events. We have the sense of, we have get the knowledge about past events. What has happened in the past? We study that. The past is a very vast period of time, since we cannot study the whole past in one particular time. It is very vast, it is very long period of events. How to study at a time? We must break it down. So historians who will very knowledge about history, that historians have divided this long period of time in history into three major segments or three major periods. Okay, some historians think that it is easy to understand. It is not easy to understand. So, when events happen in history is divided into periods. What is a period? That is a particular length of time. For example, your class periods are short. So, you have limited time to each periods. That because that period of time is very short. So, divided. But historical periods means it is many hundred years of events. Many centuries ago the events happened. So, historians think that it is easy to understand events happened in the history is divided into periods. These are very long stretches of time that lasted for many hundreds of years. The period into which historians divide the study of history are, that is three periods, mainly three periods. That is the ancient period, that is relating to the very old period. The ancient period means that is relating to the very old period, very distant past. Second, the medieval is relating to the middle period. Then modern period, that is relating to the present or recent times. Why the historians divide this history in different periods? Because the past is a vast period of time. Past is a very long period. Since we cannot study the whole past in one chance, so we must break it down. So historians have divided this period of time is history into three major periods. These are ancient period. Ancient period means is relating to very distant past. Medieval period relating to the middle period. The modern period is relating to the present or recent times. So, when we learn more history, we will see that the past has been divided into like this. All parts of the words were not in a particular period of the history in the same time. So, the event which period happened, so we see that in particular period of time. Very ancient means we see that period of ancient period event. Medieval means we see the medieval period of time, and modern means we know modern or the more recent periods. Okay. Okay, ma, next we see the Soha calendar. That is what calendar? That is after independence. When did we got freedom, independence? After we got the freedom on 1947. After independence, it was decided that the Soha calendar would be India's national calendar. The Soha calendar is the India's national calendar, but Gregorian calendar is followed all over the world. We also used the Gregorian calendar. It is used along the Soha calendar is also used along with the Gregorian calendar. How see that? Both the calendars have 12 months. This Gregorian calendars, we used the Gregorian calendar. This Gregorian calendars also 12 months. The Soha calendars also 12 months. In Gregorian calendars, January is the first month of the Gregorian calendar. Okay. So, in all over the world use Gregorian calendar, but after independence, it was decided that the Soha calendar, the name of the calendar is Soha calendar, S-A-K-A, Soha calendar, that would be India's national calendar. The Soha calendar is the our national calendar is Soha calendar. It is used along with the Gregorian calendar, because these both calendars have 12 months, but January is the first month of the Gregorian calendar. We also follow January is the first month of the year. At the same time, Satra is the first month of the Soha calendar. In Soha calendar, the name of the first month is Satra. But in Gregorian calendar, the name of the first month, that is, we follow that Gregorian calendar, that is the name of the first month is January. Now see that another. The starting point of the Gregorian calendar is the year 1. Yes, starting point of the Gregorian calendar, the year 1. But the Soha calendar is 78 CE of the Gregorian calendar. That is what? A date in the Soha calendar is always 78 years less than the date in the Gregorian calendar. So, the starting point of the Gregorian calendar is the year 1, year first. Gregorian calendar, the year first is second, then now 2021, isn't it? But the Gregorian calendar means, now see that very important point. Listen here. The Soha calendar is 78 CE of the Gregorian calendar. That means a date in the Soha calendar is always 78 years less than the date in the Gregorian calendar. So, Soha calendar's year means 2021 minus 78. So, the date in the Soha calendar is always 78 years less than the date in the Gregorian calendar. Okay. So, January is the first month of Gregorian calendar, but Satra is the first month of Soha calendar, and date is also year first is the Gregorian calendar, but Soha, this date is less than 78 years, okay, from the Gregorian calendar. That is the difference. But Soha calendar is the India's national calendar, but all over the world use the Gregorian calendar, and this Soha calendar is also used along with the Gregorian calendar. Okay, we have followed that Gregorian calendars only, no problem. Now listen here. Calendars were, why these calendars needed for us? Yes, these calendars are needed so that people could plan activities like farming or festivals. Now listen here, Ma. So what's the important points from here means? The Gregorian calendars uses the birth of Jesus Christ as its starting point. Okay, that's we know. Then the CES are counted forward from the year 1. Okay, BCS are counted backwards from the year 1. Can you clear it, Ma? Okay, fine. Now see here. The years after the birth of Christian have CE written after them. For example, now see here. The years after the birth of Christ have CE. 2021 CE only. Okay. The years before the birth of Christ have BCE. So before the common era, written after them. Okay. Then historians have divided the past into 3 periods. That is the ancient period, the medieval period and modern period. The ancient period means it is related to very old period. Medieval means it is related to the middle. Then modern means that is present, at present or recent period. Okay. Why the historians divided the past into 3 periods? Because the past is a very vast period of time. That is a very long period of time. So we cannot study the whole past in one time. So we must break it down. Okay. So what is timeline? What is timeline, Ma? Do you know? Yes. Timeline means that is a line of dates and arranged in the right order. Timeline is a line of dates arranged in the right order. Okay, Ma? So, can you clear it? Okay, Ma? So, today I give this lesson. 5th lesson book exercise today also I will give. Copy clearly. And this lesson question, 8th lesson question answer also I will give. So, clearly copy, study well. And doubt means call me. Okay. The next class we will see. Okay, Ma.